What's happening, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to be giving you the 3 best alternative exercises to do if you can't do back squats. Now, back squats without a doubt are one of the best exercises you can do in the gym, just for overall strength, obviously leg strength and development. They're going to target your quads, your glutes, and even your hamstrings as well. And again, they are just one of the best exercises you can do. And they're also one of the hardest, which is why you do get loads of people who do avoid doing them. Maybe sometimes make a little bit of excuses why they shouldn't do them. And in most cases, people do just avoid doing them because they are so difficult and there is actually nothing wrong with them. However, this video is for the exception to that rule. This video is going to be for the people who genuinely do have the dodgy knee or the lower back pain, or they just genuinely find back squats pretty hard and they need to do some alternatives to train their legs. And this is just going to be like a generalization. It's not going to be to focus on one particular thing like building strength or muscular development. It's just going to be just to train to get stronger and build muscle. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a bonus 2 exercises that if you are currently avoiding doing squats or you can't do squats, that you will be doing at least one of these 2 exercises as a replacement, and they are just not the best replacement in the slightest, and definitely not compared to the 3 exercises I'm about to give you. And just before we get into it, if you can subscribe to me, it would be a massive help. It's free and it costs you nothing, and you're doing this big guy a favour, so it would make my day if you could subscribe to me. And if you do enjoy the video and find it useful, or even if you don't enjoy it and don't find it useful, please like it anyway. It gives me a massive help. So we're going to start off at number 3 and work our way down to number 1. So the first exercise that could very well be in a year's time could go to number 2, and the reason that it's only number 3 just now is purely because I haven't actually done it that long enough, but for the time that I have been doing it, I've found it like an amazing exercise, and that is the belt squat. So the belt squat's a machine, and essentially you're doing the same thing as you would on a dip or a pull-up, where you are attaching the weight round your hips and you are holding onto the mechanism and then just squatting up and down. It's as simple as that. And this is a great exercise for anyone who does struggle with lower back pain, because you aren't loading the spine directly down the way, and the weight's effectively starting being loaded at your hips rather than going down through the spine from the top. So your back's going to be under much less pressure and load. And the other reason that this is an absolute great exercise, and it's why I like it, is because it's a machine. You are on a somewhat fixed line, but not really. You do actually have a lot of freedom through the movement. So it's not like something, I don't want to give any spoilers away from the next exercises, but it's not a machine where your hips are fixed and you can only really move in one line. You can make adjustments through your feet and hip positions so that you can alter the exercise to get it in a right good sweet spot for you. And then also the other main thing is as well is that you can get great range on this, and it's not like a machine where you're going to be fixed and your range might be affected somewhat due to, again, your hips primarily being in a fixed position. But because you are obviously attached onto something, and at the end of the day it is still a machine, you are going to be kept in a nice line, so again, it's quite easy to keep the tension on your muscles in a safe and effective way. And it's a great balance between a strength movement and the hypertrophy movement, and that's why I like it, because it's very versatile as well. It's not like much better at one thing or the other. It's just a great exercise to train both of those components. And who knows, I think after a little bit more time served at it, and I think part of the reason why it's maybe not as highly regarded as I'm maybe making it out to be is because not every gym has them and not everyone has it available to them. So if you are lucky enough to have one of these machines in your gym, I would 100% give it a shot. Even if you are still doing back squats, you can still find a place for this in your program too. Moving on to number 2, the second best alternative exercise you can do, and that is the hack squat. So although some of you may not know this, the hack squat is actually a free weight exercise. That's where the exercise comes from. But that's a story for another day. But the hack squat has sort of came back into prevalence over the last several years, and you get a good hack squat machine and they are very, very good. You can pile on a lot of load to this, and I think just the way to describe the movement is it's just a nice movement. It's fairly natural. You're obviously kept more upright, and yeah, I just think it's a great exercise for building your legs in terms of building muscle. But that is the only drawback to this exercise, where it's maybe not the most conducive exercise to making you stronger, because obviously it is pretty much a very fixed machine. And I think if you are trying to get stronger, then there are probably better alternatives you can do than a fixed machine. However, you can still use this as a tool in your strength training, as maybe like an assistance exercise or something. Now, number 1, the best exercise you can do if you are unable to do back squats is, if you couldn't guess, It's the front squat. So front squats are arguably harder than back squats until you get used to them, but I do think that like they are on par with back squats, and for me, as long as you're doing one of them in your program, that's good enough, and it doesn't really matter which one you do, you just do the one that suits you best. But front squats, one of the best exercises you can do in the gym, period, never just mind as a substitute for squats. They're a great exercise. It's taking a lot of the pressure off your back because obviously the weight's in front of you, not behind you, and I think if you can get yourself going with these, that's like a great suitable exercise to do rather than back squats. They obviously are technically harder to get right, but like anything, just work at them, get better at them, find your sort of best position, and the position is kind of the main thing with front squats and how you hold the bar, but you get that sorted and it's just a great exercise to do consistently in your training. And just another reason why they're so brilliant is they are versatile, an amazing exercise to get you stronger and to use as a hypertrophy bodybuilding style muscle building exercise. You're throwing the vast majority of the stress onto the quads and taking a bit off the glutes and hamstrings. However, you go deep enough and you will still feel your glutes working, but again, brilliant exercise to get you stronger. Obviously just purely your legs, but then just your core and even a little bit of your upper body as well, just to keep a nice strong posture. And I can't really give you a scientific explanation behind this, but a lot of people tend to find just the movement of front squats easier, and they tend to find their depth a lot easier with it as well. One of the big differences between a front squat and a back squat is the weight you can use. Like on a back squat, you can use a lot more weight. However, that's not like necessarily a bad thing, depending on what way you look at it and what you're trying to achieve. Because you're using a lot less weight on the front squat, you will not be hammering your central nervous system quite as much. So you should be able to recover from front squats session to session a little bit quicker you can back squats. So again, obviously it all depends on what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day, but that is just another potential added benefit for you as well. So those are my 3 exercises for you to do if you genuinely can't do back squats. Now, I did say I was going to give you the 2 exercises that you're probably doing if you're avoiding doing back squats, or maybe you can't do back squats. And these are just 2 that I'm not just saying it because I don't rate the exercises quite that much, but it's just because I know that they are just like go-to gym movements. So the first one is leg extension. Now, leg extension is a decent leg exercise if you're trying to grow muscle. It's not really going to do much for getting you stronger. It's not really much of an athletic movement, but it's a good accessory exercise. But that should be where it's left. It's an accessory exercise. It's more of an isolation exercise rather than a compound exercise. So if you're just doing leg extensions to take the place of back squats, it's not really serving the same purpose. So you can have them in your program, but it shouldn't be like your big main lift. Now, the second exercise that there's a good chance you are doing in place of back squats is leg press. And the reason for that, because I just think most people don't do it properly, but I think it's actually pretty hard to do it properly and in a way that's actually effective, and I'll explain what I mean. So, because your hips are in a fixed position, you can't move. Obviously, your bum and your lower back's wedged in at the bottom of the machine. It's actually really difficult to move through. What I think about leg press is, for it to be a suitable exercise for you, you've got to have the proper mechanics of it, and you need to have a good machine that actually fits your mechanics and allows you to get the actual proper depth and range that you need. What happens a lot of time when people do leg presses, it's like the tops of their thighs actually stop them getting the range, and their thighs coming at their body, they're actually barely moving. You feel like you're moving a lot because obviously your thighs are coming in on top of your body, and you think, oh, that's a decent range, and then they push up. And sometimes it can be helped, and you can just force yourself to go a little bit deeper once you kind of understand why you're maybe not doing it properly in the first place. But sometimes it just can't be helped because machines are just that friggin' awkward. You do get some leg press machines that are on like a pivot, and I think that they're much better, but I just really think for a leg press, for it to be effective, you do have to have that combination of it fits your mechanics and it's a machine that fits you as well. And that's why a lot of times when you go into the gym and just jump on the random leg press that's there, it's maybe not going to be the best exercise for you. And then it's got the added element of uselessness if you're one of these people that put your hands on your knees to help push your legs out to finish a rep, because that's now like your upper body working and not your legs. So if you do leg press, just don't do that. And that's my quick list, not so quick list. I don't know how long this video takes when I edit it down, but hopefully you found this video useful. And back squats, try and get them in, try and not just avoid them, but these are just some alternatives that you can do if you genuinely feel like you do have a problem, and maybe have a wee niggle or something like that that's just stopping you doing them for just now. And again, these exercises can also be a temporary thing as well. If you do have problems with your back squats or any other exercise, please feel free to get in touch with me. All my social media information is in the description below, as is my coaching inquiry form, which you can get in touch with me and I can help you out with your back squats, front squats, or any other lift in between. And as always, if you can, give me a little like and subscribe. That would mean the world to me, and thank you in advance for doing it. And that's me for today, and I will see you in the next video.